Good afternoon. I believe that I am live on Facebook today. We've been trying to make this happen for the past couple of months, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But hopefully, this month, January 2021, we are actually streaming and you can see us. And you'll see that I have Laura with me, our Director of Program Operations, and she has a lot to share. But before Laura gets started, I just want to say Happy New Year to our launch family. For those of you who I have not been able to see this year yet, we are 19 days in, 20 days, I can't even keep track, right? 19 days into this year, and we've had already so many extraordinary events. But I would be remiss not to reflect back on 2020, where at this time last year, we had a transition happening with the executive director. Bree, who went on to another great opportunity. And then we had the entrance of Laura, who joined us as our new director of program operations. And so those transitions happened around the same time last year. I think it would be next week. Is next week your anniversary, Laura? So next
Technically,
year,
yeah.
next week. Okay. So that transition happened last year. Shortly after Laura started, we were hit with a pandemic and had to close our sites and reopen our sites as emergency childcare centers for essential workers. We had a variety of environmental things that happened within our communities, fires in our state and across the nation that impacted our air quality. That we were waiting to see whether or not our schools were going to reopen and planning on how we were going to continue to provide care for children based on that decision. And then unfortunately, we had the loss of a dear employee, Melissa, at the end of last year. And so we left. I'd say everyone left right before the winter break, a little solemn and trying to find joy, trying to find peace, and hopefully, as we've entered into this new year, you've found a little bit of it, and you're prepared for all the great possibilities that we have at launch in 2021. I would like to share that over the next few months, you will be hearing me talk a lot more about Launch's mission and our identity statement, our values, and even how our board holds itself accountable to ensuring that we are meeting outcomes for our children to be successful. You will also hear me talking about the strategic planning process that we're going to enter into the spring. And through all of that is the thread of racial equity. And we will have activities and learnings and gatherings to ensure that we are an organization that is working towards becoming an anti racist, multicultural organization within our communities. And so, with all that being said, Laura has a lot of great information to share about her vision of how we're going to move forward in this year with programming for children and even some updates or some further pondering that we have around how we're going to be partnering with the school district in this upcoming year. So I'm going to turn it over to Laura, and I'm so happy you joined me. This is neat that we can still come together virtually and have these sessions together. So
Yes.
take it away.
Technology. It's amazing. Thank
It
you,
is.
Angela. So for those of you who I haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Laura Nicholson. I'm the Director of Operations for Launch, and my technical year anniversary was last Friday, but I really didn't dive in until about mid-February as I transitioned out of my last job. So I kind of did two jobs at once. And, I think just kind of reiterating what Angela said about really reflecting on this last year and really, I think, taking the time to fully acknowledge just kind of what a roller coaster of a year last year was in, I think, everybody's personal lives and their professional lives and the world, as we all kind of took a collective look at what is important to us and what kind of drives us forward. And I think for me, personally, coming to Launch has been one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And I can't imagine being anywhere else during this last year. The community and the folks that I've had the joy of working with have just given me so much life. And I look forward to every day that I get to come work from my office here in my house.
It's neat that we get to invite everybody into our houses, right?
Yes, I have all my plants. I did liberate all my plants from my office that I only had 1 month in at the Launch admin office, and now they're here. So they're much happier here with somebody who waters them every day. So I think that, as we move into 2021, I'm kind of separating the rest of this year and then summer and then next year. And I think that for me, that's how I'm kind of helping silo those different things in my head and how we might be approaching those various things. I think a lot of us, probably about 2 or 3 months ago for me, realized that, that whole, January 2021, everything will be back to normal. And now here we are 19 days in and nothing is back to normal. So as we are in conversations with Seattle Public Schools, I think kind of one of the biggest things that's been on my mind has been as they prepare for their opening of kindergarten through first grade for in-person instruction, as well as opening their preschool classrooms and some of their special education programs. And what does that truly mean for us who have been operating all day childcare and supporting our K-5 families since March, really, and to have kind of a new entity enter both the physical space, but also the mental space in a way that we haven't had in a long time. So those conversations are happening, and I just kind of want to assure all of you that all of the questions that have come my way, your site managers and your regional directors have been so great at bringing all of the questions to me, and I tabulate them, and I'm sure annoy the district a little bit with my incessant emailing, but I just want to reassure you that your questions are getting put out there. I might not have the answers yet. I'm working on it, but as we get ready for this potential opening of March 1st, those conversations are happening. And I think that our resiliency and our ability to continue this work will continue through any reopening plan that they might end up going forward with, which is unclear at this point. And I just want to, make sure that everybody is aware that, I am looking for input. I need the questions, because that is really what's going to drive how we respond as we move forward. So if you have any questions or thoughts or anything along those lines, please send them directly to me, send them through your site managers. And I do have a whole list going of all of the questions that have just more question marks next to them. So that's how I know how many times the question has been asked. But I think that the biggest thing I also wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page about is the incredible work that you all have been doing, that our staff have been doing on the front lines over this last almost year, and just how incredible and inspiring it is to see all of you working with our kiddos, our preschoolers and our school age kids, and just your adaptability and willingness to really be on the front lines to ensure that children, which are always going to be at the center of what we do, are put first. So I guess give yourself a little round of applause. Yay! And I think, more to come, more information to come. I had my very first reopening meeting this morning. So, and I have, I think, 7 more to go. So I promise I will keep you all in the loop as those conversations are happening. And then, as director of operations, I'm always looking forward. So we're also in conversations about summer, which I can't believe we're back here to summer again, but January is when summer planning begins. And you'll actually have the opportunity on our professional development day, which is January 29th in the afternoon. Sites will have the opportunity to be working in collaboration with each other to start brainstorming through what summer could look like for us this year. And we'll be making sure that we gather that input and what worked last summer and what has worked in summers past, and then what are we really looking forward to for this upcoming summer. I'm really excited to be working closely with Rayhana and now Doria. I'm not sure if you've all had the chance to meet Doria, but we have a new, Angela, remind me exactly what her title is.
Development assistant.
Thank you. So we have a new development assistant, Doria, on staff. If you haven't had a chance to meet her, you will soon. And I'm just really excited to be partnering with them. And my goal for launch and for all of us moving forward, not just this summer, but for all the summers to come, is that families are really choosing our programs not based on where they are, but what they are and what we have to offer, and what has us stand out for families when they're looking at 3 really important months for children in their education, in their educational journey, and then how are we also showing up in those spaces to ensure we're approaching our curriculum and our interactions with families and children from an equitable and anti-racist perspective, and really keeping that at the heart of the work that we're doing. So really excited to plan a summer that is, fingers crossed, not quite as scary as last summer with COVID, but also, making sure that we're all just moving forward with all of the great work that we're doing. And then from there, we talk about fall, because we also start talking about fall in January. February is probably a little bit closer, but things are happening behind the scenes. Sydney, shout out to Sydney for putting together a fantastic registration packet, which we're going to finalize just in this week. And we're really excited about what's coming down the pipeline. I think one of the things I'm most excited about, and that we have moved forward with partnering with a translation services company. So we now have the ability to, not only translate our written materials, but we also have the ability to have some live interpretation over the phone for families. So we're really able to kind of meet families where they're at and support them and do everything we can to get them into our program. So I'm really excited that that's happening, and that will be integral in our kind of planning for summer, fall, and all of the years to come. So lots of exciting stuff happening. And I know I only have 2 minutes left, so I'm gonna leave it at that, leave those carrots out there. Please feel free to email me, call me, anything if you have any questions, and I'll hand it back over to Angela.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully, there'll be opportunity, Laura, for staff to provide some feedback on, best ways that we can continue to serve our kids over this next year with all the unknowns, but then also, again, the possibilities. And, we just have to be real about the fact that we know many of our kids are going to be behind at no fault of their own, right? But they're going to be behind in academically, and need our support and continuing to progress forward and even catch up as necessary. So keeping that in mind as we're planning and working towards the school year, fall coming up, then there's ways we'll want to support our kids to be prepared for the next grade, hopefully. So I think, that's about it for our time. But we will continue with these Facebook Live opportunities over the next several months. I will be inviting a variety of people in to join me so staff across the organization can hear more, similar to what Laura shared today, more developments and activities and opportunities within our organization. If you have something you want to share, please feel free to reach out to me and say, I'd love to go live with you, Angela, and share with our staff across the organization this really great information, great news, great opportunity. If you have questions based on what you heard today, please feel free to email me, email Laura, reach out, let's have a conversation. Let us hear what your thoughts are, what your feedback is, so that we can continue to be an amazing, amazing organization for the children and families in our community. So with that said, we're going to be signing off, and hopefully this went through well. Everyone was able to see and hear us live on Facebook. Thank you so much, Laura, for joining me.
Thank you, Angela.
It stopped. The recording stopped, but the
Mine
live
says
was still.
live. Mine still says live on Facebook.